Hello, it's Mndy Rds this week. Um, I've not been reading a tremendous amount this week, and there's a variety of reasons for that. Got a visit from brother-in-law, and there are her three-year-old niece, who has been a little kind of delight to have around for the week. So a lot of time has been taken up that way. Um, Also, just as always, work. And you might be able to tell that I'm suddenly in focus, and you're uncomfortably aware of more divots in my face and how much I don't shave and things like that. I've got a new phone. My old LG was kind of giving the battery was not doing well. It wasn't charging well, so I figured, okay, I'm gonna make the leap before it makes me make the leap. And then you do that desperation buy versus planning out what you're gonna buy, because God help you if you don't actually have, for work reasons, personal reasons, have a way that people can kind of contact you at all moments. So yes, I have a. This is this is a Samsung S10, a securely older model phone, but you know, um, Samsung's got really good cameras, which all things equal, that most cell phones just for someone who's basically, this is the main activity. This is the highest pressure activity I will do on a phone. Today is filming myself, and watching YouTube videos. So I figured, hey, let's you know get as good get as good as phone as I can get, and it's an Android phone. So, oh boy, unlike all you poor Apple users who have a perfectly beautifully curated existence, I get to flick all the switches and try all the knobs and figure everything out and configure everything exactly the way I like it, which is probably suboptimal, but oh, I got to do it. So that also takes up a lot of time, playing with my new electronic toy, um, and syncing it up with other electronic toys and stuff like that. So that's been a good hunk of my week that way. Um, in other and but in actual in here and actually, I'm now going to use my LG phone here as my little notepad, so I don't have to print out paper, which is good because I'm low on ink. Um, and I will skip me talking about other people's videos, because that's all really really old news right now. Other than Rick McDonald should be ashamed of himself for his views of Lord of the Rings movie being far superior experience to reading the book. Written out of booktube, I say, written out of booktube. Uh, um, Thank you to Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading for prompting me to go over and watch the Claudia's the Spinster Libraries Jane Austen Taskmistress kind of game show video, which is the contestants were playing for charity, and encouraging us to watch this fun video with all the ads, so we can actually kind of generate some of that for ads. And hey, boy, just getting to experience the thing of, like, if you weren't able to use that skip button, exactly how many ads and what you would get. There were some interesting ads, but I'm not going to go into them here. Um, Steve Donahue, in one of his videos, talking about reacting to an article in the Times Literary Supplement, which was reacting to another article that was kind of a meta commentary on criticism. And that was an interesting thing. It's always interesting when you get Steve talking about, you know, professional level book criticism, not Bozo with his Samsung phone reacting to a book, but actual high level criticism, and kind of the though in some ways that it's still the duty of that is to to the viewer, to the reader, to, like, what this is what I think of the book. Let me try to explain it as much so you can make your own judgment about it, whether you want to plunk down your time. I think time being the most crucial thing, and money, but time, the amount of time it takes to read books, especially for some of us slower dunderheads. Um, Luckily for me, I've been able to do a bit of switching into my reading, I've been able to do the reading that I actually have done each day is part of my reading out loud project of reading out loud. It's a collection of F. Scott Fitzgerald's Flappers and Philosophers, which was his like first collection of short stories published in like 1920. And this week it had been The Ice Palace, which definitely continues this thing of like kind of the 1920s of the romance of the South. And when I'm talking about the romance of the South, I'm talking about the romance of the old slavery South, with the South being an economically dominant force due to slavery. And a lot of the kind of the white characters in F. Scott Fitzgerald's stories, being nostalgic for this time, mourning this time, which obviously is not something that plays really well to me as a modern reader now, being well aware of the continuing problems with people who seem to do have a nostalgia for a time when good hunks of the population didn't have any rights, were being oppressed by kind of a small minority. The Ice Palace very much being Sally Carroll, this southern young blonde, because all of Fitzgerald's female characters so far are these kind of young blonde child women, but she's got a bit of ambition, and so she doesn't want to marry a southern guy because she feels like she'll just won't do anything. She's got this kind of like, a part of her has this need to do things, so she takes up with a northerner, a Yankee, ends up north, and how that plays out, and where she ends up at the end, very much kind of plays into this kind of thing of the somnolent kind of South. I don't even know if a southerner would particularly. I don't think even someone who's like a southerner would actually particularly enjoy this story, in what it kind of implies about the South, of like, well, if you're going to be a southerner, a white southerner, that you're going to sink into some kind of somnambulance, that you might as well just kind of fade away in kind of ruined glory. Fitzgerald is a really great writer. His short stories read kind of long. Like, this feels a little bit on the kind of slow, relaxed sense. I don't know if this is like, when you watch old movies sometimes, and it's like they don't have that tightness to them, that like kind of snappy pacing that kind of a more a modern thing would have. But I think that's got more to do with F. Scott Fitzgerald. His short stories read like, this is somebody who's going to be a novelist, because he's got that kind of a pacing to him. With admittedly beautiful writing, but just some things that there's some common themes in here which I'm reacting to a lot more negatively. I can see why like something like The Great Gatsby didn't go into the southern stuff. Definitely you do get the sense of how female characters get treated in something like The Great Gatsby. A character like Daisy really could be interchangeable with a lot of the heroines of these short stories. So yeah, that's my little review of The Ice Palace this week. I am still, I don't know if I'm struggling. I'm still with The Constellation of Vital Phenomenon, and it's not that it's a bad book. It's a really well written book, but it's like, it's so perfect, but it's yet still not really grabbing me or touching me, and that makes it hard to kind of get to and to read hunks of. I'm finding I'm having a hard time getting the motivation. And I mean, I don't know if that's because, yes, I've had interruptions in my reading. This is by Constellation of Vital Phenomenon by Anthony Mera. I actually am I just stopped? I'm just stopped on page 184, where we get the Life, a Constellation of Vital Phenomenon: Organization, Irritability, Movement, Growth, Reproduction, Adaptation. So I guess it's like, roll credits. We got the title. We got the title. Um, but you know, I guess maybe I'm having trouble kind of caring about the characters in the story. Maybe because it's branching off into all these different characters. Um, I'm having trouble. Mara for me isn't really etching these people in my mind. It's got so much interesting stuff. This is taking place in a couple of time periods: 1994, 2004. The Chechen. This is all around the Chechen War with all these characters who are in Chechnya, ethnic Russians as well as more kind of native-born Chechens. And having this is like this is it's brutal stuff, but there's something about it that's just keeping me at a distance. Um, and it's one of these. It's the fallacy of like I'm halfway. So if I pause now, I know I'm never going to go back to it because I would be like, oh God, I'd have to reread all that stuff that I'd already read, and I didn't grip me the first time. Um, does have its rewards. It does have its rewards. I mean, it comes highly recommended. I think Sean the Book Maniac. I think like in one of his very first videos, he was effusing about this book, and this is somebody who he's somebody who does not take books lightly. If he doesn't like a book, he will toss it away immediately. Um, I'm probably being a bit of a wuss. If he was struggling with a book like this, he would probably have tossed it by now. Even though this book itself, he's like one of his top reads for a good long while. Um, I'm probably gonna try and settle down and just do some good wax of reading of it, and I'll see. I'll see. Will I bail after another week of reading? I guess we'll find out. We'll find out. I'm also reading at the moment Shuggy Bane by by Stuart by oh man, I didn't even write it down. Um, by that guy, Anthony Stewart. No, that's Anthony Mara. Oh God, here I'm gonna type it in. This is live because I'm probably not even gonna edit this. I don't know if I'm even gonna release this. This is kind of one of these weeks where you do I have anything to say? Yes, by Scottish American writer Douglas Stewart. Douglas Stewart. Oh, now please unsubscribe to me for making unsuccessful attempts at Scottish accents. Comedic Scottish accents should be. The only person for that is James Doohan, and that's because it's the Star Trek exemption. So yeah, I've been reading that. A literary book that uses the same technique of bouncing back and forth uh, two two time periods. Um, in that one, Shuggy Bane at 15, and then in the 90s, and then in going back to the 80s where he was an infant, and what's obviously going to be the kind of the dissolution, the destruction of his mother in there. And I guess we'll find out, and his father, Shugbane, Big Shugbane, a big violent guy. It's interesting that both these books, these literary books, use that structure. Um, in that one, it's a little bit more. In Shuggy Bane, it's a little bit more tightly focused. It's really focusing on very particular kind of this family. Whereas in this book, we're jumping in time periods back and forth, but we're also jumping from different characters to different characters, and maybe that's disrupting me in that one. Whereas in Shuggy Bane, even though it's like, it's grim Scottish, lower class, underclass, alcoholism, abuse. None of the sunny stuff. I'm actually still able to kind of keep it in mind. I feel like I'm going into focus and out of focus. Uh, Whatever. So yes, I'm still continuing with that as an audiobook, and the audiobook narrator is doing a good job, and is doing a proper Scottish accents, as far as I can tell, as a uneducated Canadian reader. Um, I'm also continuing with Just North of Nowhere, which, talk about fragmented, is sort of just more of kind of a collection of short stories all around this town of Bluffington, with a heaping of kind of magic in there, of a little girl saying she's a witch, of this I think I talked about, a house trying to eat somebody. um, yeah, which is fun. It's also unfocused. So a lot of unfocused reading for me this week. Maybe it's just, maybe my concentration just isn't there as well. That also happens as a reader sometimes. Sometimes as a reader, you're like, you know, God damn it, I need to read something light and something straightforward. And there's just periods where I'm just like, look, you can do all your literary backing and forthing, and grand literature, literary language, and sometimes you're just like, you know what? I just want a straightforward story. I just want something that I can enjoy. Maybe that's where I'm at this week. So, in amazing Technicolor, not really Technicolor, but in amazing clarity. Here I am, in the backyard, uh, vivid greens, the, the muddled pinks, and more vivid greens. Um, yeah, got nothing else to say. I'm gonna stop there and probably just drop this on my own private channel. All right, more videos later.